Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this real 26th session of this Ramadan Tafseer. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa afdal salati wa atammu taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. In this 26th session, I'll be looking at Surah Al-Ahqaf, the sand dunes, as well as Surah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Surah Al-Ahqaf, Makki Surah, Surah Muhammad, Madani Surah. Surah Al-Ahqaf is about the sand dunes, is that people of Hud alayhi salam, the other Arab prophet, and his people, the Ad, the rebellious transgressors, they lived in Yemen. And they mentioned is in this surah, and Allah SWT destroyed them later on. And this surah also mentions the examples of a child who is pious and a child who is wretched. It mentions the Quran in the surah, as well as the jinns who accepted Islam, who heard the Quran being recited, and they preceded many Muslims to Islam and took it back to their people, gave da'wah to their people, and they became Muslims as well. So in jinns we have Muslims and non-Muslims, just like in our mankind, similar to in jinn kind, because they are the two who are obliged to this duty of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has created jinns and man. And alhamdulillah, we know that there's mankind and jinn kind and no other things. No ghost kind, no alien kind as such. And with that we have certainty in our deen, and happiness is only through certainty and contentment. May Allah make us content with whatever He gives us. The Surah Muhammad is all about fighting. It starts off with fighting, and fighting about in the path of Allah, so it is about fighting. It's about the spoils of war, and it's also about the hypocrites and their states. The surah also addresses how to achieve honor and how to receive Allah's help. So we put conditions to receive Allah's help. You help Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal, the Most High, will help you. 2 ayahs only to keep this short, as I'm running behind my sessions this Ramadan. The first ayah from Surah Al-Ahqaf: وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ كُرْهًا وَوَضَعَتْهُ كُرْهًا وَحَمْلُهُ وَفِصَالُهُ 30 شَهْرًا. And we have enjoined upon man to do good to his parents. So here's talking about generally both parents. And then it goes specifically to the mothers to show that status of the mother and how important and vital that mother is, and giving that special reverence to the mother. His mother carried him with difficulty and delivered him with difficulty. Her carrying and her weaning was for 30 months. So this was mentioned in the Quran over 1,400 years ago. And 30 months as in the 6 months from carrying the child and the minimum time, as well as the 24 months later on that is recommended as the minimum time for weaning the child, breastfeeding the child. So 30 months in total. So here we have that importance and significance of the mother, such as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the mother, the mother, the mother, 3 times before saying the father, who we should give a respect to, should we love, and because they are that boulder, that anchor in the family, and through them this Muslim grows. Through them, as it says, carrying the child, being pregnant, and giving this ummah a lifeline and carrying it forward. It is them. And motherhood, alhamdulillah, such a big burden upon them as well. A mother as well, what she goes through, and if she was to pass away whilst in childbirth, a shaheed, the rewards, and she will be in the ranks of the shuhada. So such that the most difficult thing is that childbirth. May Allah make it easy for all mothers, and may Allah bless them with the upbringing that because they're always more with the children than the men. And we, as having our mothers, we should be giving them the respect and that love, and not saying off to either of parents, but also more so with the mum who is always with the child at home. So may Allah make it easy for them and make them like the mothers of the past who made du'as for their children, who became the Imam Shafi'is and the Imam Nawawis and the Imam Ghazalis and the Imam Abu Hanifa, all the greatest ulmas that we had. we always hear a story how the mother and with the sacrifices she did. Just like Musa alayhi salam, his mother, who was given that divine inspiration, ilham by Allah, how to keep Musa alayhi salam free and saved from Pharaoh's people who wanted to kill all the children who were babies, the male children of the Banu Israel. So may we give our respect to our mothers and respect to our women as well who go through such difficulties, and of course of how their body and their hormones are made up. Different to men, we should realize even when they do have issues and argue, it's also from their nature in such a sense. If you look at the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, our Ummahatul Mu'mineen, our pious beloved mothers, righteous women, righteous mothers, that the pure mothers are, that they even would have issues with things, and even such that the Prophet Allah SWT says in Surah Al-Mujadila as well, the arguments that he heard them arguing with the Prophet, such that the divorce was put on the table, and what did they choose? The Ummahatul Mu'mineen, they chose the Prophet ﷺ, and they realized the mistake. But we had that, they are women as well. So we see Aisha radiallahu anha, she would become very jealous when Zainab bint Jahsh, the Prophet ﷺ would visit her. She was the most home artisan, she was the most best cook, that whenever he would leave her house, he would always have an effect of food on his mouth or drink. That's just that she prepared the best. So Aisha radiallahu anha would get jealous, and she would say, Hasbuki an Zainab, enough of Zainab, and she's like this, and she kind of made an ishara that she's short. So this is the Prophet ﷺ then reprimanding her and saying, oh Aisha, laqad qulti kalima, you said a word, that even that ishara is a kalima, just to show us that even making ishara, making reference with the eyes or hands, it can be from hums and lums, which is anything that is bad to people, whether it's in front of their face, slandering, deriding, or from behind the backs, such as through backbiting. Any harm to any other person comes from hums and lums, and Allah SWT says, وَيْلُ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ, that woe to every humaza and lumaza, anyone who does slandering or backbiting, any kind of, even through ishara. So imagine if it was through the hand and you hit. And in today's world, the Muslims against the Muslims, and the Arab Springs and things like that, the levels we reach, subhanAllah, just that is a kabair. Anything after wail in the Quran, wailul lil mutaffifin, wailul likulli humaz dulmaza, everything is kabair after that, needs tawbah, as I mentioned in my previous tafsir. So the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, they would also have issues, and we have to realize that that's the women's nature, and Allah make us respect our mothers, respect our women as well. At such an age, we hear about the Me Too and all these issues. So we need to realize how we should conduct ourselves as Muslims with our women folk and with our own selves, and how should we be true to the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the second ayah in Surah Muhammad, it's all about the rewards of Jannah, and that is what I want to say. مثل الجنة التي وعد المتقون فيها أنهار من ماء غير آس وأنهار من لبن لم يتغير طعمه وأنهار من خمر لذة للشاربين وأنهار من عسل مصفى. So here that's what I was saying about the promise of the rewards of the believers, for the muttaqun, the ones who have taqwa, God-fearing, God consciousness. And it mentions anharun 4 times so this is al-itnab, that is showing through exaggeration, and doesn't need to put in anhar every time, rivers every time. It tells you it's got rivers of water that do not go off, do not get spoiled, milk, that is rivers of milk that do not go off, because milk, we know, goes off if you just leave it for outside the fridge in no time at all. Rivers of wine that do not intoxicate, and rivers of honey, pure honey, untouched. So here's 4 rivers in Jannah. We have 4 rivers equivalent to that in the earth, that are the sources are from Jannah, and that is some of the rewards. Can you imagine these rivers flowing and they're always that fresh? So Jannah, let's just have a few words about Jannah, as that is our end goal. That is what we all aim for, when we intend, when we want to seek Allah's pleasure, that we get the reward of Jannah, because that is the end place. There's nothing else after death except Jannah or Jahannam, and we all want to choose Jannah. Jannat. May Allah make us from Jannah. So Jannah has many levels, 7 heavens, and the high, and in each level is a level. There's many levels within levels. Just look from here to the moon. From that is just like one level. And we rise with the tilawat of the Quran. So try and memorize the Quran throughout our life. Have the intention, even if it takes 30 years to memorize the Quran. Let's have the intention that even if you were stopped halfway, Allah took our lives, we'll be raised amongst the Hufad, who can then even pardon 10 people who are doomed to go to the hellfire. So levels are such huge. The doors of Jannah, spacious and wide, that the Ummah of the Prophet will be in front of it, and be so many of it to go in, just to show how much will be going in. 3 was the number given. 3 3 years long, 3 decades long. It was not specified, just to show how long and wide it would be. There are 120 rows in Jannah. 80 will be taken from the Prophet's Ummah. That's 2/3. There will be trees in Jannah. How big the trees, the shade of the trees will be like a rider riding on a horse for 100 years. Subhanallah. Trees that come and give you food and they'll curl up to you, be like that friendly kind of thing. And trees made of gold, trunks, the branches of silver, and they'll be encrusted with jewels, rubies, sapphires, emeralds. The earth will be like saffron. The huts and the tents will be like pearls. And there will be as if like hologram pictures, and you want to look like somebody, all noble pictures, you can transform to that picture as well, and that will become you instantly. That is how Jannah is. That also is kept for the believers. In it there will be birds such that they'll have necks that will be so wide as animals, and they'll be drinking from the fountain of the Prophet ﷺ, which feeds from the Kawthar, the river of Kawthar. And to look at these birds will be so delightful, but to eat them even better. There will be also horses. The Sahaba, the Bedouins, the lifestyle, they would ask if there are any horses there, because they were so friendly with the horses and they only had horses, and that was the thing that gave them pleasure. Will there be horses there, because that was gives them pleasure? Will there be ibils there, camels? Yes, anytime when you get there, the main thing is let's get there. When we get there, it will be as we want. The horses will have wings, they'll be flying through Jannah with you, and they'll be ruby encrusted ruby, red ruby. There also will be the least reward. Now we say least because everything will be rising. Every time we eat something, it will be something better every single time, and nothing will be like the old state. It will be something new every single time. And the highest of which it will be that we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without, clearly as we see the moon, without any hijab. And the least reward, I have to mention, is 80,000 slaves. For that person who gets the least reward is 80,000. So you get more and more. If the higher you go, the more rewarding you deserve. And they'll have 72 from the maidens of Jannah, the Hur Ain, and from wives, 2 wives. If you already have 2 wives in Jannah, here in this world, they'll be with you. If you have 4 wives, all 4 will be with you. 3 likewise. If you have none, you'll be given 2. If you have only 1, you'll be given 1. And the rewards for women on the opposite scale, I'm sorry, at the moment I do not have that answer, as that's how it comes from our teachers, from our books in hadith, but yes, they will have the similar rewards and much more as well. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم.